Welcome, welcome, welcome to everybody. Thank you to be here. Just 2 words to introduce where you are, why you are here, and who we are. You are in a super studio, as you know. This is the atelier of Flavio Lucchini. Flavio Lucchini is my husband and the founder of the super studio with me, and also a big personality. It was a big personality, he's living, but it was a big personality for the fashion world, and then an artist, and then an entrepreneur who opened all the super studio in Milan. In Milan, we have right now 4 places dedicated to the creativity spaces and any kind of facility for the creativity, starting from art, fashion, design, innovation in general. We like specialist innovation. Starting more than 40 years ago, we started just looking ahead, trying to be advanced over the time, open mind, open eyes, and following, often anticipating the tendencies, the trends. It's what we try to do today. Now we think we are at the limit of the new world, and the new world is for you, for young people, is your world, not for us. For us, it's still a big surprise. But I think the student of the university have in their hands the future. So I am very happy to host all these important people, friends with me, for this new idea to work together. Italy, Milano, New York, Paris, and other countries, American countries, Sweden countries, international countries, through the university, because we really think the new protagonists and the future protagonists of our world are you. So this conference, this meeting is dedicated to you, and I hope you give us all the energy you have inside. Thank you.
Is it okay? So again, welcome and thank you all for being here. I'm pleased to briefly introduce this talk to you, to give you an overview of the context in which this occasion, this opportunity emerged, and which is actually an opportunity for Super Studio to take up with an eye toward the future. It was actually July 2023, and with Giulio Cappellini we thought about the possibility of creating a bridge between the Milanese SUPERDESIGN show, in which we are here now during the Milan Design Week, and another project and with an international reality, let's say outside the European borders. And it actually immediately, like our thought to ICFF, the International Contemporary Furniture Fair, directed by Odile Hainaut and Claire Pigeot, that are together with us today. Thank you. And this because the link was made because, for sure, because of the quality of the... Is it correct? Yeah. Okay. Of the quality of the event they developed, and because we have the same vision and the same aim. So to promote and valorize the contemporary design and the design culture, which is very, very important. And also for the consideration, which is very important for Super Studio events that produces and organizes the SUPERDESIGN show, according to the thing that we are actually and currently working and looking at New York since we are opening a new venue in New York soon. So the link was pretty clear and immediate. We shared on that occasion with Odile and Claire the possibility, and they embraced this idea. So today is the very first occasion during the Milan Design Week. The second one will be held in New York at ICFF in May. And we are already exploring a new channel of collaboration together. Also to, let's say, try to have, I would say, even different link, not just with talks, but maybe bringing the ICFF experience within the Super Design Show and bringing the Super Design Show in the ICFF experience. I won't steal any other time, so I hand over to Odile and Claire. Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone for coming. So I'm Claire Pijoula, the co-founder of Wanted Design and now brand director of ICFF, and I'm here with Odile.
Thank you everyone. I'm Odile, same title than Claire, co-founder of Wanted Design and brand director for ICFF. First, a big thank you, and it's a great honor and a great pleasure to be here. It means a lot to us. In a few words, for those who don't know, we started Wanted Design in New York back in 2011, and right at the beginning, we thought we need to bring together industry leaders, educators, and combine culture of design and the commerce of design. And right the first year, maybe Giulio is one of the first person we emailed to and say, hey, we are starting Wanted Design, would you come, would you participate? And he said yes. And so Giulio has been, since 2011, a great, supporter, mentor for us, part of Wanted Design, and especially guiding us and working with us on making that bridge between young designer students to help them to connect with the industry and guide them and build their career. So again, very meaningful to us. In 2019, Wanted Design joined ICFF. So now Wanted is a capsule somehow, part of ICFF, dedicated to emerging design with a few pillar schools, exhibition, workshop, launchpad. Giulio has been, I think now since 10 years, right Giulio, a jury for launchpad, so helping us to select the young designers that we feel really are promising, and lookbook dedicated to North American design studio. So this idea, when you talk to us, we said yes right away, because I think, like you said, we share a lot about the vision, what should be our platform to create that bridge, and especially the bridge between Europe and Italy specifically, and New York. So I don't want to take too much time. We are here, we can answer questions after, but a big thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning to all of you. And thank Odile, thank Claire, thank Laura. And why we are here. First of all, really I'm very, very happy of this connection between Italy and North America, because I think that today is really very, very important to be international, because if in the past something was happening maybe in New York now and in Italy after 3 years or vice versa, now with the virtual communication everything is really going on very, very quickly. But on the other side, I think that it's really very, very important to maintain the local DNA. So I think that this sort of discussion between the North American culture and the European or Italian culture is really very, very important. So I'm very happy. This is the first step, and I think that is the beginning of a long, long history. I know both all the Super Studios since 20 years, and really I support ICFF and Wanted since really 10, 12 years. And so really for me, this is a very, very important step. What I want to discuss today, I think that again, the role of schools is becoming more and more and more important, because I think that really when students finish their studies, they have absolutely to be ready to enter in the market. And today, again, competition is absolutely very strong, and the market is global. So when you work for a company, for example, when you work for an Italian company, maybe 20 years ago, you have to think products or to think communication just for the local market or for few countries in Europe. Now, when you think a new product, when you work on communication, the market is the world. So that means that really, while you are at school, it's really very important to experience, because really everything today has to be very quick. The market needs quick answers, because if you take too much time to give an answer to a real need of the market, we are completely out. And so for students, really to work in this fantastic job, because I think that really design is an incredible area of business, an incredible area of education. I think that really, so for students, it's really very important to experience, so to be ready for the market. That's why I think that really the role of education is becoming more and more important. And also we have to think that maybe in the past, in Italy you have the Italian education, in North America the North American education, in South America so and so. Now really, when we think to schools are becoming more and more international. In Marangoni, Milano, we have students coming from 60 different countries. In SCAD, I think that there are students coming from all over the world. So I think that really this cultural contamination is becoming really more and more important, because really if in the past maybe students that were used to work alone, now really they can work in group, and so they can really compare the different local culture. And I think so that this role is absolutely important. And I always say that to think to the future, we have to know very well the past. So on one side, I think that really at school it's very important to study the history of design, to study what there is on the back of a real product. On the other side, really is also very important to understand which are the real market needs. And we have to think that sometimes we say, okay, after COVID, everything is going so quickly, everything is changing. No, everything was already changing for sure now. We live in a different way, we work in a different way, we travel in a different way. So really students and so young designers have to be ready to give this answer in a very quick way. And on the other side, with the people that are going to speak soon, you will see that this theme of the role of education for the future of design can be really, we can see from different angles. That means that can be the part of the history of design, the design of the future, the design compared to the market, because also this is really very important. No? That means that today, when you work for the industry, you have really to work in a very proper way, and you have really to give a very quick answer. So, what to say? I think that this is absolutely very important. For example, thinking to Italy, in the past we are always speaking about just food, fashion and design. We speak also now about education. And this is something that we see worldwide, because the role of education, I think that today is really a very central role. So I think that we can start to speak about this with Sergio Nava. And Sergio Nava is the Director of Education of Istituto Marangoni Milan, the School of Design. Thank you.
Sì. Thanks, Giulio. I would like to say thanks to Odile, Claire, Laura, and also Gisella to invite me here to give this opportunity to our school and to have this moment to discuss a little bit about the future of design and education. And I would like to start with a little journey in the last 50 years to try to understand what's going on now. So we speak about design and the path of design. In the 1970s, we have the first change through the emerging technologies. That was like the introduction of the computer-aided software, that they made the first change in the way that we start to create the design projects with more precision and change also the creativity. And starting from the 1970 to the 1919, we start also to use some designer and also architects parametric design, for example, that change again the way to produce like a project, but also have also the parametric design and a big impact on the aesthetics, because through this technology we start to have the possibility to create a sophisticated and elaborate design that was not possible to design before. Another big change that we have a big impact on all our society, but also in the design, was the introduction of internet in the 1990s, that it changed the way that we research about design, but also change the way that we collaborate because through and communicate, because through the internet, the World Wide Web, we start to have like connection, and this was like the first part of the globalization of the design. So there was like more contamination between the different school of design, we can say that. And arriving today, we are facing in the last 10 years technology as like the metaverse technologies, the hype of the AI in the last 2 years, that they already had, but they're gonna be a big impact in the next year in many different ways. For example, the metaverse start to give the possibility to go over the physical world and to combine the two worlds, the physical and the digital one, and that have an impact also on the aesthetic of the physical one. So just to give you some example, we have like a designer as Anders Resinger that he start from the digital and he becomes after a real designer, so he start also to design physical things, and the aesthetic of the digital have a big impact on the physical design. So for the choose of the colors, the shape. So this is another point of that I want to underline, speaking about the role of the emerging technology in design. Starting from that, we can start to face also what's going on now about the artificial intelligence, because in the last 2 years we spoke a lot about artificial intelligence, all these tools that professional and student, they start to use it. And also this technology have an impact in the process because it accelerate a lot the elaboration of solution or concept, or also in the research of imaging. You have to, we can just to have the vision, the image of the impact of this technology, thinking about a notice that I got last day, that they say that we already produce in the last 1 year and a half more imaging that we did in the last 150 years. So this is a very simple way to understand which impact they have the technology in our society, but also in specific in our field. And the impact on the educational side, they're gonna be already discovered through the use of virtual reality, for example. But in the future, we can imagine that students, they can start to work in the virtual reality and starting to make their project directly in this world, to have a more connection with the space, because now we are designing on a screen, we are designing on a paper, we design on a different scale. Imagine the future that students, they could design in a scale 1:1, so they could be like inside the space and to have more idea of the relation between size and proportion and also distance in the space. And speaking about artificial intelligence in the educational side, but also in the design field, they have not just an impact on the aesthetic, on the process, but could be also an impact on the way that we research. For example, students in the future, they could use like artificial intelligence to, for example, discover new trends, discover like data research in more fast way. Also, they can also have some information of like customer needs, for example. So this is like what's happen now, but also in the future. As Istituto Marangoni Design School, this year we, as every year, we display like an exhibition here in Super Studio, and I would like a little bit to speak about that because it's connected with what I said before. In this installation, a group of students, they design a collection that is a spin-off of Capellini brand, and we try to investigate two topics. One was related to the Generation Z, so the way the Generation Z see the living space, and in the way that the furniture could change in relation of their needs. But another topic that is connected with my speech of today is the introduction of AI tool in the design process. And if you have the occasion to visit our stand, we realize several loop in morphing, where through this little loop we try to explain that in our school we already start to face this technology in a positive way, and we make a manifesto with rules. And we already start to teach to the student the correct way to use these tools and in which moment of the process is correct to use it. For example, it could give an acceleration in the research part and the brainstorming part, and it could give like an acceleration on the conceptualization of the project. But in the end, we teach also to our students that the finalization of the project is in the hand of the designer. This is just like the AI are just tools, and they are like in the service of the designer. So in conclusion, I would like to say that as an educator, as a professional, the technology, the emerging technology have to be every time in front of everything, because technology are the ingredients to change the design, to change like the discipline, to change like the way that we live in this society. And for us, it's very important to anticipate the use of technology in the school, because we are preparing like the manager or the designer of the future, and it's necessary that they start to face the technology before that the market already digest the technology. So for us, our students, they have to be the driver of the technology in our society. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Sergio, and really following your words, we really understand how school is looking to tomorrow, not only to today or to the past. And I think that, again, in this case, we can see how the role of education is so important, because now everything is going so quickly, future is tomorrow, and so all these new elements that are part of the way how we do projects are really absolutely very, very important. And I think that really contemporary schools, they have absolutely to push a lot in this direction, so students has to be prepared not to work in a different way. And I think that, again, when I think to the design panorama, no? In the 80s we were used to work in a certain way, in the 90s another way. Now really the way of working is completely changed. Now the role of the designer is completely changed. Maybe in the past where you're used to work alone, and after to developing a project with maybe the team of a company, but each one has his own part of the project. Now we work in a team, no? We work with the international team, and we work with all the team into the company. To do a project today is not only just to design a table, a chair, or a sofa, or a glass. No, it's really to follow the project from the first idea, step by step, to the final product, to the promotion, to the introduction in the market. And so this is really the huge change, alone and team, and really the school has absolutely a very, very important role in this direction. So thanks again, Sergio. Now I'm going to introduce really Victor Strand, that is a program manager product development with furniture design. I don't know if Jönköping University in Sweden, please.
Yeah, so my name is Victor Strand. I'm a program manager at the Furniture Design and Product Development program in Jönköping University, in Jönköping in Sweden. Thanks for the invitation, and also thanks Sergio for the very interesting topic. When I got this invitation, I thought a lot about it's a very big question, and it's hard to anyone to have the whole answer for what is the role of education for design future. And I think this kind of talks is very important and very good, because I think the answer lies in that many people contribute and have their different takes, and the combination of those could be all the parts of the picture of the answer. So I usually have a quite practical approach, so my input on this should be quite practical, I think. I think nowadays already, and it's perhaps have always been, the role of the designer is so complex, because you have to consider so many complete different aspects, like technical aspects, production aspects, and how you perceive a material, or there are so many things. And I think this will in the future be even more difficult for designers to orientate in, because there are so many new materials, especially within like the ever-increasing sustainability issues. So I thought that perhaps I could do something with this, and we could switch picture there. I think as we have at our program, and to like resolve and make this very complex complex work into understandable and manageable work, I think there is still, even though it's not new, it's still a lot to gain from design thinking, from IDEO, all the framework and the methodology. I think it's great for design education. For example, I put this, I think it's suiting for assessing materials. And there are also at Super Studios so many very interesting materials that you could think about around this. So like this model, I can take the picture before, like the desirability, it means that of course we need to make products that are very desirable for the customer. And the feasibility means that we have to like technically be able to resolve like production, construction, and every of those aspects to make it work. And viability is that we always also have to make a long-term economical sustainability. So that is hard to manage to design product that meets every of those, but we have to. And I think I took some like examples of new materials that have been around for some time, but for example, like reuse of old car tires is super interesting. It's there are new sheet materials that you can use, and there are like granulates that you can use for 3D printing. But then you also have to consider the desirability for the perception of the material. And mycelium, super interesting, the lower part, the below ground part of mushrooms, that you can increase the strength of hemp or other organic materials, really increasing. You have all heard of super problems with like algae plants and microalgae overflowing the oceans for heat reasons. And could we make products out of those? That would be perfect. But then we need to have the material must be like gaining in the product for the desirability, and we have to make this like production processes that can handle this, and also how to construct something with algae material, because it hasn't fibers like wood, or it hasn't strength like steel, but somehow we have to do it. And also how to make a production out of these materials so that are economically sustainable. 3D printing and other new manufacturing techniques. They have also some aspect that you have to consider, like the texture of the Z height in 3D printing is something to consider in desirability. And one thing that is, at least in Sweden, I guess worldwide, is super buzz around now. It's make use of second-hand materials. So like old furniture, like old store interiors and so on. I think that's a really tough one, but it's also like a gold mine if you can resolve to use that material. And then I think if you can think about the design thinking methodology to make this like manageable to think of. So how to, if we can have these and all other materials, if we can resolve how to make a product that people really likes and perceives a good quality, and also learn to construct and make it like a technical quality and assembling techniques and fittings and so on, and also make sustainability in economic for the company. I think that is a key question to work with future designers. So that was my take on this, and we are many students and some teachers here in Milan this week. So I have on the second and third year rows some of my wonderful students, and they are exhibiting in the Daylight Hall. So please visit. And yeah, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Victor, Thank you, Victor. And I think that really, again, you show how to make projects today something different from the past, and how really to do a good project we really need to have all the ingredients. If we lose one of them, the project is absolutely not good. Good, perfect. So now I want to introduce Caterina Rivadossi. She is a professor of managing furniture design companies at SDA Bocconi School of Management, MAFED, Master in Fashion, Experience and Design. And so Caterina, she's going to speak about a very important theme. That means that okay, when we speak about product, production, design, but the connection with the market is absolutely very, very important, because nowadays that really the market is becoming more and more international. I think that it's not enough to do a good product, because if you do a good product but you don't promote in a proper way, is absolutely nothing. So this connection between brands and customer is today something absolutely very, very important. Please,
yeah. Thank you very much, Giulio. Thank you very much for inviting me. Okay, you know how much I like education, of course, and I'm very happy to be here. And with my speech, that I want to be focused on this specific aspect of education. How much the education can improve the connection between Italian companies and brand, because we will find out that we have an issue in this aspect. Okay, let's start by talking about Italian companies. I don't know if you know that our Italian companies very well represent the best of Made in Italy. They initially born as highly skilled artisan, but starting from the 50s, after the Second World War, they evolved into design-focused companies, thanks to a great collaboration with the most famous architects and designers of that time. And betting on this design component, together with the strong technical skills and manual abilities, our companies were able to elevate their offer and to elevate their status. This is the reason why a new generation of design company flourished at that time. And also designers were very, very, very happy to find the right partner able to satisfy and realize their creativity. So it was a win-win situation, let's say, and still is a win-win situation. And also this is the reason why we are recognized as a market leader in the global market, now as in the past. But because there is always a but in life, unfortunately, if we analyze the industry from a business point of view, we notice that our system is very, very fragmented. This means that it is composed by thousands of companies with, let me say, bonsai size. Okay, this means that most of the companies do not reach 1 million euro in turnover. The average turnover for our companies ranges from 20 to 50 million euros. Only few exceed 100 million euros, and just 2 groups are targeting now 1 billion euro. So we are definitely small. So my question is, how is that despite being recognized as market leader, we are still small? Okay, so based on my analysis, I find out 4 interesting aspects, and the role of the education related to this aspect is very, very important. Education can be the game changer of the industry. First of all, first aspect is the market size. I don't know if you know that furniture design market is a niche market, because consumers prefer to devote their spending to furniture in a little share, just around 4 or 5%. Yet, to be sincere, generally speaking, furniture is a sort of commodity, because it is a part of our daily life, because everybody sits on a seat, eat, work, or write on a table, and sleeps in a bed. But according to our analysis, we realized that furniture is still considered as a private good, something that cannot easily be shown off outside our house. This is the reason why many persons prefer not to dedicate their spending power to this category, but they prefer, for example, cars, jewels, fashion dresses, and whatever. COVID changed this relationship with living spaces for people, because lockdown taught us for sure one thing, that we deserve a better place to live in. And this is also justification of exceptional sales that our companies did in the 2 years after company. So we are sure that there is a desire in the market to improve our living spaces for many reasons, for our well-being, to satisfy our aesthetic needs or functional needs, or also for our self-expression. Think about the video calls in the past. There was just a white wall behind us. Nowadays, starting putting some flowers, some vases, a painting, then a chair, a sofa, something like that. Just starting showing the living space, our living space. So my first message related to the market size is this: if we want to increase the spending power, the spending share of our customer, customer must be educated. Education must be educated to consider furniture design as a luxury product, because we are talking about a high-end product, no? With all its emotional content, as I said before, well-being, self-esteem, self-expression, and so on. The cross-pollination between design, or among design and other luxury categories such as hospitality, fashion, that extended their brand into the furniture industry, for sure will help to increase the attention in this industry, but it's not enough. And this is, now there is the second aspect I want to share with you, that is the design culture. Because consumers must be explained that a design chair is not simply a chair. No? It takes time, effort, and money to convert a single sketch into a real product. This is something that customers need to know. So to spread the culture, the design culture, is very, very important. So if we want to expand not only the spending share, but to find new customers, to expand our customer base, for sure companies must educate the consumer by spreading a design culture. This is a very interesting lever, because make a consumer appreciate the complex beauty, that I love this word. You know, Giulio the complex beauty of design, as well as understand the value, because we are talking for sure about expensive product. But how can we do it? Because I said that we have a sort of an issue in terms of market size and in terms of design culture. How can we do it? The third aspect I want to say is the brand awareness. Okay, if we operate in a niche market with low design culture, but with an expensive product, to be sincere, being small doesn't help much, no? Because the smaller the companies are, the less capital and expertise they have to invest in promoting and in promotion and in international distribution. And this is really a pity, because in the luxury market, most of the sales are strictly linked to the brand, because the brand is itself a symbol and a guarantor of top quality. Consider that, for example, whereas 90% of the luxury watches sold are branded and 80% of leather goods sold are branded, in the furniture design only 20-25% of our products are branded. This means that there is 70% of the remaining share covered by anonymous artisans, okay? That are very, very good, no discussion about this. But we miss that part of the market. Okay, so it is important if we want to be recognized, because many times they don't recognize our brand, neither our products, neither they are able to associate our product to our brand. If we want to be recognized, companies must invest in communication and brand building. Here is the additional role of education, because companies must change their business culture, shifting from a product-oriented approach to a customer-oriented approach. This is unfortunately very, very important. Not easy in Italy, because think about cheese, wine, and other product category where we are really excellent, but not as recognized in the rest of the world as other countries, because they are better than us in marketing product. And this is even more important in our industry, because the purchasing process of furniture is very complex. Okay, so this is the last aspect I want to share with you. That is the customer experience. Consider that our customers, since we are selling high-end products, our customers are affluent consumers already spoiled by the fashion system in the last year. So if they approach a luxury product, they want to be treated as a VIP. Can you imagine small companies, our Italian small companies, many times do not understand, not because they don't want, but because they don't understand very much how to manage and to treat this customer. CRM for sure is a wonderful, the customer relationship management is for sure an incredible tool, but if only a very strong market-oriented culture within the company can fully exploit this tool. So the ability to identify, to segment the customers, to study their behavior is the only way to better meet the expectation of our customers. So the role of education for the companies is this: they must be educated to engage our customers in a modern way, through the different touch points in an omni-channel environment, with the goal to simplify and improve the overall customer experience. So in conclusion, we can say that our companies, the Italian companies, for sure produce excellent and wonderful products, but sell this product in an environment where brand building and design culture are very, very relevant, and they have not reached yet the level required by a luxury market. So companies should leave their comfort zone, as I love to call it, a comfort zone, based on the product. Be proud of your product. Yeah, we know that the products are perfect. And they have to try to explore this new strategic dimension that is represented by the market understanding and the customer experience. So these are my suggestions in terms of education. Brand and design awareness is an issue in the industry, and customer and company education is a priority. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Caterina, and really following your words, I want to underline, yes, that really there is a lot again to do in communication to promote in the best way products, and I think that the role of schools, the role of education in this direction is absolutely very, very important. No? We have the beautiful products, but really we need to present into the world in a proper way, and really again, this is something that is becoming more and more important. Good, so thanks a lot again. Now I want to introduce the last speaker, that is Nicholas Jacob, and he's Professor of Industrial Design in Savannah College of Art of Design, USA.
Yes, okay, it's on. Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank Giulio and also Super Studio. I don't know if Gisela is here. No? Okay, of inviting me to today's talk. I'd like to talk a little bit about how the profession of design is in constant transition and in evolution. I would like first to talk a little bit about my design education, and then to talk about, design as an educator. I'm from Denmark, but I actually studied most of my design in Milan. So I came to Milan in the early 90s, and strangely enough, there wasn't any public education for industrial design in Italy. It only became officially possible to study industrial design in Italy in 1999. They had a 5-year program at Politecnico, like trial program 5 years before, but it was not until 1999 you could actually study industrial design. So all industrial designers, all product designers in Italy, they were trained as architects. I didn't want to design buildings back then, so I wanted to design products. So I found this small design school. Unfortunately, it doesn't exist anymore. It was a private school where I studied, and we're talking about, I began in 93, and that school was not really, also everything happened so fast in those years, because when we had like the internet coming in around 96, 97, everything just speeded up. Everyone was online, and that made a huge difference. But when I started to try to look for some I don't know if you can say transitional jobs, but started to look actually for work, they asked me, can you draw on a computer? What software do you know? And we didn't get any education in computer software in my department, industrial design. So we still used drawing table. We could do renderings, but we could not do. So I actually had to go back to school because the school didn't prepare the students for that. And I actually went back to Denmark because the courses were much cheaper there. To learn AutoCAD 13, it was back then, and that was the first AutoCAD version where you could do 3D modeling. Before that, it was more developed for architects, it was just or engineers, 2D drawings. And then there was another thing. Then I returned and I did a master course in Politecnico di Milano, and then I started working first as an employed designer in Milan. But so what Gennaro was talking about, the importance of getting these tools really helps us. And there was also another thing I like to address around those years. I remember in '97, everyone was talking about, or the late '90s, DFM, and it stood for Design for Manufacturing. So we had to think about, okay, when we design a product, it needs to be, what do you say, least amount of units, or it needs to have, a very few parts. So it's going to be cheap to put together, because man hours, of course, is a cost. So the fewer parts we can use it for, and the easier the assembly. So design for assembly or design for manufacturing. That was key, so it become very economic to manufacture. Nowadays, it's the opposite. Now it's designed for disassembly, because we need to recycle, like Victor Strand was talking about, sustainability. We need to do industrial products that are sustainable and can be recycled in a circular economy. So now we have to reason otherwise when we design. So no matter what kind of parts it consists of, we need to take them apart so we can recycle these various materials again. Okay, so that was a little bit about my, personal experience about, the profession as designer. Then in 2008, I started also as an educator, first at the University of Camerino, that has a faculty of architecture in the Department of Industrial Design in Ascoli Piceno, because I had moved to Le Marche. And there I started to teach industrial design. And I can also say there's been a huge change when it just comes to like the students, because when I studied industrial design in Milan in the early 90s, there were, in my school, a small private school, there were 3 departments. Interior design, all girls. Industrial design, all guys. Graphic design, half and half, But I'm currently actually here in Milan with a class of students from SCAD. I will get to that later. And out of 18 students, we have 15 girls and 3 guys. So, and also when I started teaching in 2008 at Università di Camerino, or University of Camerino, the majority was, male students. And when I entered there before going to SCAD, they were actually, the majority was female. And I also think now we have like kind of at least in Denmark, like the leading designers are female designers. So there has also been a change there, So also there we have kind of an evolution. But returning to like the constant evolution of designs, when what we talked about, these means that help us, like the computers, that also required for a new profession of designers, because I don't know if anyone of the students present here probably don't remember the early websites that we had to look at, but they were made by people who knew how to program the websites, but not people who had a design background. And they were terrible. And the interface, you couldn't really navigate it. It was that created a need for a new profession of designer. And in the beginning, it was called interaction designer. Actually, I believe there was Olivetti was the first actually to start a school in Italy for that, because they needed that. Then it might also be called an interface designer. Today, of course, we call it UX designer, user experience designer. And that's also a transition we have, because a lot more products becomes digital rather than physical. So we need to also design the digital world, right? So the interfaces, the apps and all that is, increasingly important. And also understanding the experience as a consumer. We also need to create the service, right? And that meant that, like I know they started it in Köln, in Germany, but we also have the profession of service design nowadays, and keep increasing and the number of design education needed for the modern world. And I'm pretty sure that we, in 20 years from now, will have like many design professions that are not even invented yet, to design stuff that would come out in the near future. I joined SCAD, that stands for Savannah College of Art and Design, which is a design school in Savannah, Georgia. Also has a department in Atlanta, also in Georgia. and also a small campus in France, in Lacoste, in the region of Provence. A very beautiful place. And SCAD is a different, because I have experience with both as a student but also as an educator in the Italian design system, but actually also in the Danish, because I've been a guest. Julia, if I'm going too long, you just need to cut me off, okay? So in Denmark as a guest teacher at design school Kolding, and in Italy and also in Denmark, it's actually possible to be a teacher without any professional experience. It's not like that at all at SCAD. You know, in fact, you cannot, without any professional experience, become a teacher at SCAD. So you don't have the same academic obligations that you have in the academic world as a design educator there, like writing articles or conference papers, stuff like that. We use all our hours in the interaction with students in the classroom or in help classes or with the thesis writing, stuff like that. And also SCAD is a school that really embraces new technology. For instance, also like Sergio Nava said, you know, in the past 2 years we've been talking a lot about, you know, artificial intelligence. And of course, you know, also at SCAD, you know, how do we embrace it or integrate it into our design education? Because at first, you know, oh, this is going to be terrible because we're going to have problems with plagiarism and stuff like that. How can we know if the students did it or if it was just, you know, generated? But of course, you know, it can be good, you know, AI and like in the brainstorming phase, or like, you know, getting the ideas in the beginning. But it's not that intelligent. AI, it's actually a little bit ignorant, so you still need the designer. So I usually say we had Victor Strand that was talking about IDEO and their design thinking. Tim Brown, the CEO of IDEO, he's a huge fan of divergent thinking, which is like opening ideas. Am I done? Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
So Nicholas, thanks a lot for sharing with us your experience. You know, I think that I want to thank first of all the speakers, and you know, many things are on the table. That means there is a lot of things have been done, but there is really a lot to do for today and for the future. No? And I think that this is very, very interesting, and more we see that the real needs are worldwide needs. So that's why I think that schools, as we saw this morning, located in different parts of the world, no? From North America to Italy to North Europe, and so they have to work together, I think, to reach those results. No? And I think that this is absolutely important, and I think that also to share the results is quite important. Also now, during these days in Milano, you can see many projects of different universities, of different schools. I just told before about this experience with the Marangoni here at Super Studio. In New York, we will have really a big group of international universities from Europe, South America, North America, showing their project. And I think that this is absolutely very important, because to build the future is very important to understand what is happening in the world. And as I told already before, everything is really going very, very quickly, not today. So we have to stop, we have to think, we have to work in a proper way, but today is really very, very important to give the right answers to the market in a proper way. So I think that it has been very interesting this morning, because we are 4 people speaking about 4 different teams, but all involved in this big issue that is building the future for young people and for young students. So, you know, during these days, I think that the time is really very precious for all of us. So I want to thank you. I want to thank, first of all, Super Studio to organize this. I want to thank our international guests, and we will reply the same in New York in 1 month. I want to thank you. I want to thank all the speakers. And now we can drink, I think, a glass
there's
of
some
water.
coffee.
A coffee
So
down
please
there,
join
and
us.
grazie mille, and have a nice week in Milan. Grazie.